pledge allegiance
to the
the
flag
flag of the United States of America,
America,
and
to the
to
republic
which
which
stands
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 one nation,
one
under
nation,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty and justice
for all.
for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Carson,
Here.
Dr. Fike,
here,
Mrs. O'Rear,
Here.
Mr. Pelakowski,
Here.
Mrs. Raymond,
Here.
Mrs. Rhodes, here, Mrs. Heather Smith, Mrs. Kristen Smith,
Here.
Mrs. Williams,
Here. I just wanted to make a quick announcement that we were in executive session prior to this meeting for personnel matters. Solicitor announcement related to virtual meeting.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. And I want to ask the board members and the public to bear with me. I do have a number of things to go through, an announcement to make. First, I want to start with a comment on the forum for the meeting, which tonight is virtual. On October 7th of 2021, the board passed a resolution regarding public meetings that addressed virtual and in-person meeting conditions. The resolution states that virtual public meetings might be utilized, can be utilized, as determined by the board president upon consultation with the superintendent and solicitor when duly advertised in accordance with law. The board president, as authorized, has consulted with the superintendent and the solicitor and directed this evening's meeting to occur virtually. Before I continue, I would like for anybody who is on the line, board members, to either mute your microphones when you're not speaking, or if you're on a telephone, move the receiver of the phone away from your mouth. Thank you. A Zoom platform is being used for this meeting, which allows board members, administrative staff, and those registered for public comment to join the Zoom platform. The meeting is being live streamed on the district's YouTube channel. This is a public meeting, and the public will have a reasonable opportunity for public comment consistent with Pennsylvania law. Multiple factors led to convening this meeting virtually, including but not limited to considering the public's compliance at September and October in-person board meetings with the masking order issued by the Secretary of Health. Availability of safety and security measures, availability of reliable and accessible public virtual meeting platforms, the incidence of COVID-19 quarantines, and the potential for board members, administrators, the solicitor, and other important participants to need a virtual participation platform connected to COVID-19 cases affecting board members and those who work with the board. The district does have certain technology that allows individuals to participate virtually while others are participating in person at the Southmoreland High School auditorium. However, the technology infrastructure does not lend itself to a successful hybrid meeting. And so because of the need for everybody to be able to participate and the need for us to be flexible for those persons that may have to participate virtually and the other factors mentioned, it was decided by the board president upon consultation with myself and Mr. Masha that this evening's meeting would occur virtually. All board members have been given both a telephonic and computer web-based opportunity to participate in the voting meeting. And Mrs. William, that concludes my comment related to the virtual meeting.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you give me the COVID statistics that support this?
COVID statistics are not one of the items that were expressly considered in moving the meeting to a virtual platform. At least for this.
Said here, incidents of COVID-19 quarantines and so forth. It says incidents of COVID-19. That does not apply.
No. So incidents of COVID-19 cases was not considered for this particular meeting as in community COVID numbers. Certainly that's a factor that the board will have to monitor moving forward. But for example, at the last meeting, during the date of the last meeting, both of my children who are young and require hands-on, care, they were in a quarantine because of a close contact they had at their daycare. So I personally had a reason that I had to participate virtually.
So COVID-19 incidence is not a factor in why this meeting was scheduled by Zoom.
I can't say that it wasn't a factor. It wasn't a factor that we took specific data on to report out this evening. So I'm not prepared to give you that specific answer, Dr. Fike. But the CDC's website is consistently reporting on the number of COVID cases that are occurring in each area and whether each municipality is classified as at each level of risk.
Okay, so this decision was made on factors other than COVID-19 incidents.
That is not a correct characterization of the rationale for the meeting being virtual.
Correct me, please.
Dr. Fike, respectfully, I think that your question was not necessarily clear. I think that we have been clear about the reasons that the meeting is being held virtually. Somebody spoke up, I'm sorry. Okay.
Solicitor announcement.
The public wants to know. That's all. The public, I got a couple calls. Why is this a Zoom meeting? And I assumed it was because of COVID-19 incidents, but I was wrong.
Solicitor announcement related to public comments.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. I first want to begin by addressing a comment that was made at the October 14th school board meeting. There was a public comment made by a citizen indicating that a middle school teacher in the district had stated during a lesson something to the effect of, if Biden wants us to become Islam and we say no, we will die. The teacher made the statement, the district made a statement about the president in the context of a religious freedom lesson hypothetical. It was not the specific message as characterized by the public commenter at the last meeting. The district did take this information and pursue an investigation. And we are confident in clarifying that the statement was within the context of classroom instruction and it was wholly appropriate to the content of the lesson. And therefore, I felt that it was important to clarify that on the meeting this evening. For this meeting, there have been two ways in which the public can comment. For the first public comment section, and these opportunities are all outlined in the board's agenda. Individuals had an opportunity to call the board secretary in advance of the meeting to register to give public comment, and they were then provided a meeting ID and access information. Callers who wanted to comment on non-agenda items at the end of the meeting could either call the board secretary to pre-register, or there is a phone number that individuals can use to dial in. Again, it is available on the board's publicized agenda for this meeting, but I'm going to state it so that you are aware of it if you're watching the live stream. It is 724-640-2609. And you may call during the public comment period at the end of the meeting to add your comment at that time. I also want to give a few reminders about public comment that is what is and what isn't appropriate under district policies. The public's comments are incredibly important to the board's governance process. Please keep in mind that it's not a dialogue or a question and answer session. All statements have to be directed by the citizen to the presiding officer, which is Mrs. Williams. No participant can address or question board members individually. Doing so may result in termination of the caller or participant speaking time. Please also be reminded that comments again cannot be personally directed, and obscene, abusive, or irrelevant comments as determined by the presiding officer may be terminated. Thank you, Mrs. Williams. That concludes my comments.
Mrs. Sundell, I have a question. You said in regard to that middle school comment, did you say if President Biden says we are going to become, Biden's only been president for what, 8 or 9 months. Is that in our curriculum now? Biden's name is in our curriculum?
Dr. Fike, I don't know the answer to the specific question about whether Biden's name is in your curriculum. I know that the public commenter had mentioned something to the effect of if there was a teacher who made a statement, if Biden wants us to become Islam and we say no, something terrible will happen, we'll all die. That was communicated and the public meeting is posted. It's there for others to view. I felt, and I believe your administrative leadership felt that it was important on behalf of that teacher to clarify that we did review that comment and that the comment was taken out of context by the public commenter.
Was Biden's name specifically mentioned? Because that could not be part of a lesson plan or a curriculum at this point in time.
If someone was talking about a hypothetical situation, it is possible that the current president could be discussed in a class, whether or not it's in the textbook or not. I would think talking about anything related to current events could come up in a class discussion, regardless if it's specified in the textbook.
Because you said it was part of the lesson plan. It was in the context of the lesson. And I was surprised that Biden and Muslim would be in the context of a lesson plan now. But you're saying that does exist. We can look into that. I will request to see that. I'll request to see that. That strikes me as very unusual considering we haven't bought any curriculum with his name in it, as far as I know. Or that Muslim. I'm not aware that we bought lesson plans or curriculum that include that.
Well, Dr. Fike, I would assume that our teachers frequently discuss current events as part of their curriculum, and that would be talking about our current president would definitely be part of current
Christy,
events.
do you know in what class this would have occurred? Do you know what class it occurred?
I do, but I'm not
current
sure.
events in middle school?
Oh,
I think that-
I would hope that we teach them in every grade.
I think if we're going to discuss specifics, that needs to be handled as a personnel matter. And you can speak with Mr.
personnel.
Mashik.
This is a curriculum matter that applies to the entire student body.
Well, you're
This is not
asking which
personnel.
class this was taught in. That becomes very specific, Dr. Fike. So
Okay, well then just tell me where in the curriculum, Michelle, then forget the people. Yeah, okay. Where in the curriculum could these two words occur? This is strange to me because first of all, I'm not sure that there's a basis for it because where would these words occur in a lesson plan? I think that's what you said, a lesson plan.
So if we're going back to what we have books and we're not going to teach anything current other than our books, I'm not sure that President Kennedy might not have been president in the history books that we have. So
and I could understand that. I'm not questioning that.
You are, though. So I think
no, I'm questioning how Biden's name would appear already in a curriculum or a lesson plan.
And that's been explained to the best of Mrs. Zundell's knowledge. And if you have further questions, maybe Mr. Mashik could help you understand that a little bit better tomorrow.
Sure. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that.
If I may interrupt real quick, Dr. Fike, I think what Mrs. Zundell was saying is that during a lesson plan, not that it's in the curriculum, it was just something that they were all talking about during a current event or during a lesson plan. I don't think it's how she was saying that it's not in the curriculum.
Okay, so the teacher could have said this.
Yeah.
But you're saying the person didn't. You're saying the person didn't.
That I don't know. I'm just saying what I believe or how I interpreted what Mrs. Zundell had said.
Mr. Masha?
Yes.
Could could you give some input on this just to kind of bring some closure into it, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
If it's a topic of current related issues, I do believe that it can be discussed in a class. We are asking our students to be critical thinkers. So if it's a current issue, then it will be discussed in a class. Now, I myself personally, I don't know what the context, and neither will I dwell or delve into the specifics
Okay.
of the class, because I'm going to protect the class itself. But I do believe that if we're asking our students to be critical thinkers, being part of current related issues is applicable.
Okay, Vince. So the parent did hear the accurate information, and it was accurate that it was discussed. Okay. I'm trying to determine whether the parent made this up or whether it actually happened. And you're saying it didn't happen, or it happened and it was okay. Look, I'm not going to belabor the point. It surprised me that this would be an item in a class. Okay, in a middle school. Okay, go ahead.
Mrs. Zundel conveyed the appropriate response to that question. So I do believe that she addressed the issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can move to the next agenda item. Mrs. Williams?
Mrs. Tarzan, was there any public comments that you received?
No, there have not been.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Minutes of August 19th, 2021 meeting.
The board is asked to approve the minutes of the August 19th, 2021 meeting.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call. I'm sorry. Would you like a voice vote there, Dr. Fike? Voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Minutes of the September 9th, 2021 meeting.
Board is asked to approve the minutes of the September 9th, 2021 meeting.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Minutes of the September 16th, 2021 meeting.
The board is asked to approve the minutes of the September 16th, 2021 meeting.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Monthly board treasurer's report.
October 7th meeting, I'm
Oh, I'm
sorry.
sorry. October 7th meeting, 2021.
The board is asked to approve the minutes of the October 7th, 2021 meeting.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion.
I did have a question. When we, like, as we're approving these minutes and stuff, like, how long does it take, Mrs. Tarzan? Like, what's it's up to like 30 days
For
for the minutes to be completed?
It just all depends on, I mean, I try to do them as quick as I can. It just all depends on the other craziness that's going on at the
True.
time.
No, and it's just for my own knowledge, honestly, because I just trying to figure out, like, how it all rolls. So, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I would like to reinforce that Mrs. Tarzan, while she's doing the minutes, there are a number of other things that are taking place that are very integral to the operation of the district. So she,
Absolutely.
some of the minutes have been quite lengthy.
Yeah.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Monthly board treasurer's report.
Board is asked to consider the approval of the treasurer's report. I'm sorry.
Didn't we do that?
No,
No,
Oh, sorry. My mistake. I'm on the wrong thing.
me too.
my technology's not cooperating either here right now.
So I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mrs. Kristen Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 8 yes, 1 absent.
General Fund Board Summary Report.
Board is asked to consider the approval of board summary report for September 2021.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 8 yes, 1 absent.
Fund accounting and food service check summary listing.
Board is asked to consider the approval of the fund accounting and food service check summary listing.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 8 yes, 1 absent.
Superintendent information.
Yes, I have several items. Just to point out that we are nearing the end of the first 9 weeks. Time is flying by. The first 9 weeks ends on November 4th. I am currently right now in the process of reviewing the grades for those students that are enrolled in the SOLA program. Parents will be notified of their child's progress. And if a parent has not done so already, I do believe, gained access for parents to be able to monitor their child's progress in SOLA. But if that has not happened, parents can reach out to me and I will make sure that they have access to their child's SOLA program. Also, we are coming to the point where I'm also the district assessment coordinator. We are looking at starting to get things in line for our fall and winter, winter keystones. So there's moving along those lines. I think the first 9 weeks has been an interesting first 9 weeks. I do believe that, things are starting to level out, hopefully, and I hope I did not jinx ourselves, but I do believe that, we're moving along well, and hopefully that will continue. So that is the end of my report, Mrs. Williams.
Thank you. Business manager.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Williams. For your consideration this evening, I will be bringing forth the results of the banking RFP. I am going to be suggesting that we move our accounts with the exception of the athletic and the food service accounts to FNB. I believe they have been a very good partner with us thus far, saving us over $300,000 when we did the banking free financing. In addition, looking at some of the items, they will save us estimated a total of $15,000 in analysis, which totals up $6,100 roughly in PNC analysis fees, as well as additional interest income on the money markets that are currently held in PNC and Pliget accounts. Are there any questions or anything that I can help answer regarding the switch to First National Bank?
Mrs. Mondock, is that switching everything to First National?
That's everything with except for the athletic account and the food service account, because we typically get cash in those two accounts. And looking at the locations of First National Bank branches, that's really not a good move for us there with those two accounts. Looking at what we've been charged typically with the analysis fees, currently in their proposal, we would have to have a collected balance to offset the fees of what has typically been running us $6,100 per year. We would have to have a collected balance in PNC of $2,893,610 in their accounts so that they would no longer charge us the fees. With First National Bank, we will not be receiving those fees because they will actually look at the collected floor balance and write off any analysis fees that we would be assessed. In addition, they are currently going to pay us a higher rate of interest than Pliget would, as well as PNC. And PNC, I can tell you that whenever I set the RFP out to them, yes, they did indeed respond after I prodded them to. However, once I did receive the RFP back from them, they did not bother to contact me to see if I had any questions. I can tell you First National Bank has been very responsive. And in my past dealings of working with First National Bank, whenever I was the assistant business manager at Hempfield Area School District and the business manager at South Butler School District, I can tell you that I have always found them to be a very valuable partner with the school districts. They work hand in hand with us to not only do what is best for them, but also what is best for us and our stakeholders.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Solicitor information.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. I won't take up too much time because I think I spoke enough already during the meeting. But there are two items that I wanted to review. Board members and the public may be aware, but yesterday, the Pennsylvania Appeals Court did hear oral arguments in the mask mandate opposition case. This is a case that has been filed by parents of students. They are arguing that the Secretary of Health exceeded her authority under the law by issuing the masking mandate for schools. Again, oral arguments were heard by the judge. There has not been a decision rendered yet, but arguments in two cases were heard. I will be sure to update the board as we get a decision in either of those cases. The second matter that I wanted to speak about is something that's in your agenda later on under G item 1, ESSER 3 expenditures. I'm going to request that the board table this item during this meeting and not take action on it. I have a meeting scheduled with Mr. Masha, Ms. Mondock, and Dr. Clara early next week to further review the recommendations for use of ESSER 3 funding. We do have the intent to put this back on the agenda for a vote. So we would ask the board, when it's tabled tonight, which I hope you'll support, you will do a motion to remove it from the table at your first meeting in November and take action on it. Okay.
Thank you. CWCTC report.
I have no report this time.
Thank you. WIU report.
Yes. I met with Dr. Conway on September 28th for about 2 hours, and he pointed out some important figures that are of interest to school boards. As you know, all districts contribute to the upkeep of the school board. In 1991, it's called the General Operating Budget. In 1991, the district contributed 18.95%. For 2021, it was 2.8%. To work on a committee, they ask for volunteers. They do not assign them, they ask for volunteers. And I volunteered to be on the Student Services Committee, which was formerly known as the Special Ed Committee. And it continues to be a major component of the IU in terms of both employees and services. The IU received a clean audit report from Deluzio and Company, and the auditor spoke to the board privately and said he does not work for management, he works for the board, and they were open to all concerns and questions, which they handled very nicely. I have in executive session already spoken about the issues and recommendations regarding the structure of Act 93. There is a real concern that maybe we as a district may not be utilizing some of the IU offerings, and he stressed that they are there to serve. They have a program called STEAM, S-T-E-A-M, that's a little bit up from STEM, and they have a lending library that we voted on to use. I asked him if our teachers knew about it and were using it, and he couldn't give me an answer. But he took me into the room, and it absolutely astounded me. When you walk in this room, this lending library, you will see a wall, a massive long wall of containers. Each one is a separate container. In each container, there is a curriculum unit. All the teacher has to do, and these are really, really, I want to say targeted for our gifted students. All the teacher needs to do, and the STEM teachers, they call it STEAM, all you have to do is call the IU, you order the unit, they deliver it to the school, you use it, they come and pick it up and take it back. It was absolutely incredible. It had everything from the math, the physics, the chemistry, all of these things that astounded me. He also took me on a tour of the building, and they have, and I don't know if our district uses it or not, I just don't know, there is an entire section where students come in. Very often students come in, and they perform experiments, and they do all of these advanced things. Are we using this? I don't know. But I was taken aback at the resources that are available through this lending library and this special unit for children to come in directly to the IU and work. I hope our teachers know about it. I hope they will take advantage of it. It is absolutely an amazing resource. We reviewed a grant that came from R.K. Mellon Corporation and the RAND Corporation, and they are presenting a drug and alcohol prevention program to all Westmoreland County middle schools. They will do pre-test versus post-test, which is designed to gain a level of knowledge about what our students actually know about the issues related to drug and alcohol abuse. In grades, they're using 7th, 8th, and there are 21 buildings. There are 21 buildings in Westmoreland County, and they have allotted $3,000 per building for expenses related to this program. They are going to work through the health and phys ed teachers, and they hope to be done by October of 22. They're hoping for future funding, and they are encouraging our participation. They will train staff to be experts at no cost. They will provide the curriculum for drug and alcohol prevention. Dr. Conway also demonstrated to me and gave me a copy of his weekly staff report. And it's like 9, 10, 12 pages long. I said every week, he said every week. And what he does is he produces this document that goes out to the staff. It is contributed to by each of the administrations and so forth and so on. And it really reviews all of the things that are happening in the IU, things that need to be done, and so forth. They also showed a visual of something called the Clearview Boulder Program. And I was really surprised to see it. But what it is, in order to protect that building, because it contains very vulnerable personnel and students, they have actually put in huge boulders that block any kind of a vehicle coming in to the doors, to the side of the building. They are protective devices. They completely surrounded Clearview with these huge boulders that they got a grant, and they brought them in to protect the students so that nobody who's, for example, a terrorist or something like that could do anything. We did have a grievance, and it was, to my knowledge, as far as I know, because it didn't do the final, but it was resolved. It was resolved. The board was informed about it. We discussed it. The recommendation was made how to resolve it, and that did happen. And our next meeting will be on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, up at the IU.
Thank you, Dr. Fike. PSBA liaison report.
I don't have anything this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Rhodes. Any committee reports?
I can speak for the Policy and Personnel Committee. We are working. We set some more dates for meetings that are public. If people want to come to them, they will be held on Zoom virtually. I also attended the COLA meeting last week, I believe it was, and that is at the IU. I can kind of piggyback on what Dr. Fike said in that we had a meeting with Dr. Sherry Smith, who's the acting Deputy Director Secretary for the Office of Elementary and Secondary Education. It was actually very informative. We were able to ask questions. She explained a lot of the legislation that's being discussed right now that's in the House and in the Senate. She spoke a lot about some of the issues, well, a lot issues that all of the schools are having right now. Personally, I spoke on behalf of our admin and teachers, saying that, you know, it's great that we have this funding. That's great. However, our administrators and our teachers are just swamped. They are underwater. They can't, the administrators can't do anything other than COVID. So that is a huge issue. So it is taking the focus away from education, and the teachers as well. You know, it's a huge issue. They need help. They can't get it because we can't get substitutes. So while this funding is fantastic, it's very difficult to use it in ways that are helpful to our district. Some of the mandates that they have coming down about COVID are very difficult to implement, considering we don't have a Department of Health in our county. So you can't really compare Philadelphia schools to our school. We're a very, very different situation. So it was very informative. Like I said, she told us a lot about some of the legislation that's coming up, but it was nice to be able to kind of get our point of view in there too. She did emphasize that she is meeting with IU directors, which is Dr. Conway, and that we should use them as much as possible to get information to the PDE. So with Dr. Fike, I can say as well that The IU is definitely a resource that we should be using more. There's so many resources available, and he can be our voice to the PDE, probably on a weekly basis if we need him to. So I would definitely reiterate that as well.
Christy, he was telling me that he's having in-person meetings with like Eric DeVanzo and Ryan Warner and Stefano, people like that. He's meeting with our local legislators face to face. He brings them to the IU. They come to the IU. But Christy, can I ask you a question? He told me that there's supposed to be 2 people who have the assignment that you have, and he went and looked at the computer, and there's only one. It's you.
You know,
So
if I can interrupt you for a second,
yeah.
When he was introducing Dr. Sherry Smith, he was explaining to her the committee and said that it is to be the superintendent and 2 school board members. And I was actually
that's what I'm talking about. 2 school,
yeah,
Christy. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. And I think that you should ask someone on the board. It should not be me because I'm on the IU board, but somebody else should be. That's what I'm talking about, Christy. To the 2 school board members, but he only has 1. He only has you.
Correct. And I don't know if that's something that's changed in the past year. I know when I was put on it, I don't know, Mr. Masha, I went with you before COVID.
2 years ago, at least.
I think
Yeah.
right when I got on the board,
Mm-hmm.
I got on it. So I've been going, they have them every other month. And
Yeah.
I thought it was only once, so maybe it's changed, but I do think it would be very helpful. I mean, they're very informative meetings. We always get to speak to someone that gives us a lot of information. So if someone else wants to do it, I think we should definitely.
I think we should have that second person because he went and looked on the computer while I was there, and you're listed, but you have no backup. There's no second board member. And like I said, it shouldn't be me, but somebody on the board should be on that with you, Christy, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and you know, sometimes Mr. Mash is not available to go because he has other meetings and other things going on too. So if there was another person listening and taking notes, he was at this last one. Mr. Masher, you were there too. But it was very, I mean, it's really informative. I think it's great for anybody to be able
It really
to
is, Chris. So we should ask for someone to volunteer from the board to help you with that.
I would like to point out too that the last meeting was by remote, virtual presence also. So there is that option too.
Oh yeah. I think that in December, Mr. Masha, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they said that they were going to try to go back to in-person.
Yes.
The meeting is typically for board members, 7:30 in the morning. And I think that I don't have the email brought up. I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared for this part, but I think they're trying to switch. No, I mean,
no,
maybe they did before COVID. I don't know. I can't remember, to be honest. But I think they're trying to switch. They're trying to switch between mornings and afternoons. I think they discussed, just so that we can reach some more people. So if you can't be there in the morning, I think the December meeting is
4:30 in the afternoon.
4:30. Okay.
I do.
4:30. So.
I think I agree with putting someone else on there, but I think in a month and a half, the board's going to look very different. So me placing someone on there right now is going to be challenging. Like I personally can't make a 7:30 meeting. I'm sure Mr. Polakowski falls into that same category. So really, as far as moving forward, the only knowns right now are the 4 of us. And Dr. Pike just said she's already on.
I think that I was voted on to do this at the first organization meeting that we had. So
that is correct.
That first organization meeting before the next meeting? That would be really convenient because then we could assign someone and see if they could go.
I do believe
it's in December, right, Chris? December.
Yeah, our next meeting is in December.
Yeah.
In the COLA meeting, I believe it's December 9th.
I think in our it is December 9th. I have a calendar, and our next board meeting in December is December 2nd, correct?
I believe
it would be December 6th.
It's a Monday. That's right. Yeah, December 6th.
What?
So
9th. I thought it was the 9th. No,
Our first meeting would be the 6th. It's always the first Monday, I believe, in December. According to the code, I believe that's when your reorganization meeting needs to occur. So I think
when is it, Michelle?
It's that's according to the Pennsylvania School Code, that your reorganization meeting has to occur on the first Monday. I believe that's the case. That's why our meeting is always that first Monday.
It has to occur during the first full week of December.
Okay,
Yeah.
ours is scheduled for the 6th. I believe that's already on the calendar. That's our only
6th,
meeting
yeah,
for the
that
month
makes-
of December.
Yeah.
That's compliant.
I will add that to Mr. Masha's to-do list to remember in December that we want to add that to part of the reorganization then. Are there any other committee?
That's all I had.
Are there any other committee reports? There's a buildings and grounds meeting on October 25th, which is next Monday. That's at the middle school. And there's an athletic committee meeting that's been advertised also for November 8th, also at the middle school. I think both of those are scheduled for 6 p.m. Okay, Essers 2.
Sorry, I was. Hey, Ms. Mondock, would you like to team with me? I know that there is a spreadsheet that has been included on board docs. Mr. Mondock has been working very diligent to update it. I need to pull up. Mrs. Mondock, if you would like to maybe explain the rationale behind it while I pull it up.
Absolutely. The Essers 2 funding was $1.4 million for our district. Of that, we have spent, actually, as of Monday, $986,193.68, which leaves us a balance to spend of $413,806.32. I can tell you one of the biggest areas that we have left to spend. Initially, there was $420,000 that was budgeted to spend for the to-go bags, those for each of the teachers within the district. That has come in significantly under budget. Currently, that line item, we have spent $145,987.78. We most recently, within the last week or so, just placed an order for the Windows-based computer lab at the high school. That was $30,573.30. That was $573.30 over that budgeted line item, which obviously we have more than enough to take care of that. There are some upgrades to playground equipment that we haven't spent anything on thus far. That is because we have tried to reach out to a few individuals to see what we could do to get that information, to get some information for those items, and to no avail at this point in time. I can tell you that we had some life skills books that were ordered, some speech and language support supplies. We had the community relations. We had the summer busing for the summer school programs, those type items. I know you'll see on the spreadsheet, there are some items for life skills support and social emotional. I believe it was the life skills that just recently came in with their wish list for this item, and that's what we're working on getting that ordered for them. I do know that Dr. Clara is working on the social emotional component with those teachers. So we have been very, very actively monitoring this to make sure that, obviously we are getting the best bang for our Essers bucks, so that we spend this wisely to help us not only for the learning loss, but to help us in the future as well.
Mrs. Mondock, on the playground equipment that needs to be upgraded, is that something that we can also address, like whoever's going to be in the building and grounds meeting come Monday? Is that something that we can address there?
I don't see why not. We certainly could.
Okay.
We can put that on the agenda.
Okay.
Is there still money that we're looking to find places for, or is everything covered and we're just waiting to order?
Well, there are still some funds that we now can reallocate to something else, because
Okay.
obviously looking at, we have the to-go bags that have already been set up for each of the teachers. And the expenditures did not come anywhere near the $420,000 that was allocated in the Essers 2 budget for that.
Sure.
So in talking with Mr. Masha and Dr. Clara.
Is everybody frozen or is it just me?
Just you.
Just you, unfortunately. In talking with, are you unfrozen now, Mrs. Williams? Are you okay?
No.
Okay. In talking with Mr. Masha and Dr. Clara, we do know that, there are some additional things that we can spend in technology. For the $420,000 we actually just within the last week or so ordered some of the wireless access reports or access points, so that we are working on getting our IT infrastructure to be more robust from what we currently have. I know Mr. Smithola has also worked with me to get the wireless controller up and running and ordered, but we haven't expended those funds yet. We've just encumbered them.
Okay. So a quick question. I know that I have seen some things where teachers are in need of some supplies and they don't have the budget for them. For instance, maybe books that their classrooms is reading. Is that a possibility to look at stuff like that? And then I was also thinking, I've been helping out at the middle school library trying to sort through some of the old stuff that's in there and get it set up again. I didn't know if it would be possible to put some funding towards that, because things are very, very outdated there. Technology and periodicals and books and everything like that.
Actually, Mrs. Sutton has just started working on developing a list for the middle school library. So that is something that is on our Essers 2 radar that we are looking at fulfilling and hopefully getting that program back up and running for our students.
Okay.
Mrs. Smith, we're also looking, the middle school computer lab is pretty outdated also.
Yeah, I gotta look at that as well. There's still the big box computers, which is shocking.
Yeah, so we're looking at all those avenues, and Mrs. Sutton has been working very diligent in trying to get, some idea as to costs associated with that.
That's great.
I have a question for Mrs. Mondock or Mrs. Zundel. The Essers 2 form that we're voting on this evening, if something changes with it, do we, what I don't understand is like why we're voting on this form. We're spending this money, but obviously there's probably going to be changes to it. Will we go again and vote differently, or is this form, when we vote tonight, is it like set in stone that, that's what we're spending it on, every single line item, or how does that work with this vote this evening?
Unless I'm wrong, I believe that, and obviously Mr. Masha or Mrs. Zundel, correct me if I'm wrong, the Essers 2 information that was given is merely a community update on where our spending is. So you won't be asked to vote on anything at this point in time with that. At least that was my understanding. Is that correct, Mr. Masha and Mrs. Zundel?
That is correct. It was just for informational purposes and full disclosure at this point.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on Essers 2? Okay, I need a motion to table the next line item, Essers 3.
I will make the motion to table that item at this time.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
And we're just tabling that. And I guess I should have asked this before I said aye, but we're just tabling that till later on down after Mrs. Zundel and Mr. Masha converse, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Monthly board meetings moved to Zoom format.
Virtual public meetings may be utilized as determined by the board president upon consultation with the superintendent and solicitor when duly advertised in accordance with the law.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
I will second.
Discussion.
Mrs.
Can you tell me
Williams,
the
before there's any debate on this, I just wanted to clarify one thing for the board, and this is just informational. This same language the board has already approved within the context of the motion from October 7th.
Can you tell me the criteria by which these decisions are made?
I'll respond to that. Dr. Fike, the criteria include number one, the goal of conducting a meeting efficiently as required by the school board. The school code, boards have to meet at least once every 2 months to conduct the business of the district. Other criteria that would be reviewed would be anything associated with the in-person public meeting and whether that is a feasible and appropriate way for the board to convene. The virtual meeting does have to be held in compliance with the law, the Sunshine Law, as well as school code. And so there has to be in a virtual meeting an opportunity for a public comment, a reasonable opportunity. And we've put several measures in place to ensure that that happens. But the motion itself does not list specific or numbered criteria.
So
You say we have to run the meetings efficiently. How does a Zoom meeting, are you saying we don't run our meetings efficiently when we meet in person?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Please explain that to me. A Zoom meeting is done so that you can hold the meetings efficiently. I thought we did that.
Can I pop in with a question too? So I'm a little bit confused. Is this saying that we're going to decide on a month-to-month basis what is going to happen? Is this saying that we're moving all meetings for the foreseeable future to virtual meetings? Can you just explain that a little bit more so we know what we're voting on here? Because if it's already worded like this, I don't know why we're voting again.
Yeah, Mrs. Smith, I can't answer that question. I don't know, maybe Mr. Masher or somebody else who had worked on the agenda could answer that question.
Mrs. Sundell, what relationship do Zoom meetings have to the Sunshine Law?
Excuse, Dr. Fike, I want to make sure that Mrs. Smith gets an answer to her question before we proceed with the deliberations.
Mrs.
I'm
Smith?
sorry, I didn't understand what you just said. I apologize. What did you say?
Dr. Fike, Mrs. Smith asked a question. I don't have the answer to that question, but I want to give an opportunity for somebody else on the call to be able to answer her before we take.
Okay, then you'll take my question later. Okay, that's good. I apologize. Go ahead.
Mrs. Smith, could you please repeat your question?
Sure. I just said, Mrs. Zundel mentioned that we already voted on this and that this is already the wording that's in our policy. So I was a little bit confused what we're actually voting on. Are we voting to say that we are going to all virtual meetings for the foreseeable future? Are we voting just to say it's going to be a month-to-month decision? I just wanted a little clarification as to what we're doing here.
I might be wrong, but my interpretation was by the wording of this is that we have the ability upon consultation with Mrs. Williams and with Mrs. Zundel that we could evaluate the circumstances month by month and make a decision upon that. Now, that was my assumption. If that is wrong, I would, I stand corrected. But I thought that it was an evaluation that was to be made on a monthly basis.
Okay, Vince, that was my question too. What are the criteria for this decision?
Well, as Mrs. Zundel outlined, I would think that we would have to take a number of factors in consideration. What's taking place with COVID? What are the circumstances, the compliance of people at the meetings? I would I would think that we would need to be, take a look at all those factors and weigh the decision, Dr. Fike.
She mentioned the sunshine law as one of the criteria. How does that relate to Zoom meetings or in-person meetings?
The Sunshine Law governs all public meetings. And so my statement was just that a virtual meeting, just like an in-person meeting, does have to meet the letter of the Sunshine Law.
Okay, but that's not a criterion, Amy. I'm trying to get my head wrapped around how this decision is made. It's that simple. How is this decision is made? What's it based on?
So some of the things that this decision was based on is non-compliance of public to follow what the mandate is. Some other reasons why this was made is when we talk about how we're able to conduct business efficiently, it is not efficient when your solicitor, who is very knowledgeable in your district, is unable to be there, and it's very hard to communicate with her while we're present and she's on Zoom. We had some other board members needing to be off at the same time. So you're trying to not only listen to, have one person participating that way, but we had two board members trying to participate that way. And it wasn't simply because people don't want to be present. It was because they're following the guidelines for their children or their families that have been sick. If we get into a situation where Mr. Masha cannot be present, it's going to be virtually impossible to conduct an in-person meeting while other people are on Zoom. We've tried to do it hybrid, and that's very difficult with some of us present and some of us not present. It was hard to ask Mrs. Zundel questions. During that meeting, it was hard for public to hear her. It was hard for other board members to hear. It was hard for her to hear if somebody wasn't right by the computer. There were many things that just didn't flow smoothly in that last meeting. And in listening to our security personnel, other districts are moving fully remote or opting to have meetings that are not on school district premises, which leaves you open to your school security is also not able to enforce anything there either. So those are some of the reasons why this decision may be made. It may also be made if a building is closed because of COVID. Right now, I think Westmoreland County is still substantial. That could be one thing that drives it if the COVID numbers in our district are high, if they're high in the area, if we have multiple board members out that aren't able to participate publicly. Those are some of the reasons why this meeting was moved to fully remote. There have been other board members, I believe, that reached out to Mr. Masha asking for this agenda item to be placed on the board, on the agenda this evening, but it was to remain fully remote for a certain period of time and then reevaluate it so that we weren't flipping back and forth meeting to meeting. I think that's what other board members had requested, as I did as well, so that everybody kind of knows whether they're coming or going and how we're meeting so that things can be advertised efficiently. For Peggy to find out on a Friday that we're going to go remote. And also, even if we found out Wednesday, because I think we found out Thursday for certain that Mrs. Zundel would not be participating live. So that's why we had reached out, or I had reached out, and I believe some other people did as well, to move to fully remote so that we weren't trying to run things hybrid. Those would be.
Okay, you made the statement that security was a problem. Would you explain that to me?
I did not say that security was a problem. What I said to you was security had discussed with us that they were, because you cannot forcefully remove people, and security feels they cannot legally remove people for non-masking. Their suggestion was to go fully remote, as other districts are doing, or to hold our meetings in a separate location outside of the district so that the masking law mandate does not apply to that building. So Those were.
I've probably had a half a dozen phone calls where the community, people from the community, I don't even know them, they've said this is simply a movement to shut them up, to keep them from talking to us.
Certainly not a movement to quiet anybody, Dr. Fike. There's phone
They think.
numbers
That's what
on
they
the.
think. I didn't say it. Said
I'm
it.
just
They
saying
said it.
there are phone numbers on the website. There are phone numbers in the newspaper advertisement. Mrs. Zundel put out the phone number at the beginning. There'll be a 3-minute recess at the end. It's certainly not a way to quiet the community. They have every opportunity to participate in this meeting just as they have in a public building. It's just that the building isn't open this evening. So, I mean, there are multiple ways for someone to communicate. I think, do we still have it in our policy that they can communicate through email and Mrs. Zundel would read that email? I know that that was in prior communications that we did that previously. I'm not sure that that's still in the in there as well, but there are at least 2 public comment sections that are, they're both advertised prior to the meeting, and we will do a recess to allow people to call in. So if people are still interested in participating, and they did before too, we had a lot of people who called in previously.
So they will be able to not only call in, but they could actually get on the meeting so we can see them as well, correct? Like they did before?
I think that's what we did before.
Yeah, I think if that's what we're doing, that's a very important part of it, that we can be able to see them.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. They would have had to email Mrs. Tarzan, right? Like before 3 p.m. Okay. Yes. To be included in the Zoom part of it.
And there was no one that called or left a message on the phone or inquired or emailed today.
I think at the end of the meeting, it's just call in, if I'm not mistaken. But prior to the meeting, at the beginning, you would be able to be via Zoom because you would have the access to that.
We were able yesterday to call in as well.
Yes.
It was advertised.
So all face-to-face contact is virtually gone.
No, I think that if they could get on the Zoom meeting, we would, just like they did before, we would still have face-to-face with them like we're doing now, is what they said.
Face-to-face.
May I just add to reinforce what Mrs. Williams said? Going hybrid is a very big challenge, and I'm going to just speak personally. Our last meeting, I had a very difficult time hearing what was going on, and I think that's very important that everyone have a complete sense of what is going on and have complete access to what is being said. And I myself personally, I had a very difficult time hearing comments and hearing what other people were saying.
In light of the reasoning that Mrs. Williams has provided, I would like to amend the motion to specify that we are going to conduct meetings virtually, either if we want to set a particular time period or if just until, if we want to put it on the agenda again later in November. But at the very least, I would want to see us determining that we are going to do at least the meetings for the month of November via virtual so that we don't have this kind of up in the air unknown. And I think the month of November is certainly still going to be, it's probably going to be the best way to go for the time being. So I would like to make, amend the motion to make it a more permanent or a more definite situation, not, just a week to week, meeting to meeting kind of situation.
Is that something, Mrs. Zundel, that we could do month to month where we would vote now for November to be virtual? And then in November, we could revisit that for our December 6th reorganization meeting as to whether or not that could be in person. But that would give us, our last meeting in November would be November 18th. That would give us roughly 2 weeks to have that advertised. Mrs. Tarzan, that runs over Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving would only be that Thursday. We should be able to advertise that efficiently for whichever way we're
Absolutely.
going.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yes, Mrs. Williams, you can do that on a month-to-month basis. So the amendment proposed by Mrs. Raymond is appropriate. And I want to just read it back sort of to make sure that we have it correct and the board can keep this in mind while you're voting on the amendment. There's a motion by Mrs. Raymond for virtual public meetings to be utilized during the month of November and to be duly advertised in accordance with law. Does that work?
I am good with that.
So I need a second. I'm sorry, Mrs. Zundel.
I was just going to ask for a second. Thank you, Mrs. Williams.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, you said in accordance with law. So does that mean that if we get partway through a meeting and things aren't going well, they can just pound a gavel and stop the meeting? Is that part of the law?
The amended motion will read that virtual meetings will be utilized during the month of November and shall be duly advertised in accordance with law. So the meeting just has to be advertised by Ms. Tarzan as required by law, which she stated can happen.
They have to be conducted accordingly, right?
That's not the motion language, an amendment that the board is considering right now, but yes, certainly all public meetings have to be conducted in accordance with law.
Any other discussion? Roll call?
And why do we want to do that? Like, why do we want to just have it virtual? Like all the time, you know, as far as like.
So we're moving the next 2 meetings, just the month of November, to virtual, and then revisiting that at the November 18th meeting. It gives us some stability moving forward with a lot of the people on the board being in and out of quarantine themselves. Last meeting, Mrs. Zundel was in quarantine with her family, and we could not communicate with her easily to run the board meeting smoothly. So, you know, hopefully, with any luck, decisions are made on the masking arguments that are being heard. Maybe that will be lifted and we won't be having people from the public coming in, not following the mandate, which puts us as a district out of compliance. So we were just moving 2 meetings for right now and then revisiting for December.
Okay.
Just for stability purposes and advertising purposes, and us not having to make a decision on Wednesday what to do when we have key people that can't be there, and we have no way to advertise. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
On behalf of my constituents, no.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 1 no, 1 absent.
At this time, the board needs to, so that was the motion to amend the item. The next vote will be on the substantive item on the table for meetings to be held virtually in November and be duly advertised in accordance with law.
Okay. So I need a motion. Sorry.
I was like, wait a minute, what did I vote on?
Robert's rules.
That makes sense now. Okay.
Okay, I'll
So
make a motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
On behalf of my constituents, no.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 1 no, 1 absent.
Superintendent evaluation tool.
Board is asked to approve the 2021-2022 Southmoreland Superintendent Performance Evaluation Form.
I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Carson, Mr. Carson, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Dr. Fike,
No.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes, and I'd just like to thank Mr. Masha for working with the board to develop something moving forward. I think this is going to be good for him as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion carries 7 yes, 1 no, 1 absent.
EL services.
Board is asked to approve EL services with the Westmoreland Intermediate Unit. That is for disposal of waste.
Okay, I need a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's for English language. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong one.
I was a little
looking.
confused. And I was
I was
like, okay.
This is for English as second language services that we have. I'm also currently that supervisor too. I was looking at the wrong one.
Okay, I will make that motion. I was really confused with what he said.
EL services, that's the one we're on, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
I need a second.
I will second.
Discussion.
I was under the impression that was called ESL. Am I wrong?
It's the same thing, Dr. Fike, and I apologize for misreading that.
I think it's critical that it's ESL so that people understand it's not the same thing that we are teaching in regular language arts classes. This is a second, English is a second language. Am I right, Vince?
Yes, this is for testing those students that might be coming into our district that are not proficient in reading, writing, or speaking of the English language. And these are services that are provided to get them affluent or in the speaking of the language.
So this is an ESOL program or ESOL
Yes.
actually.
ESL.
ESL. This is for students that need assistance in learning the English language.
And the intermediate unit does call this EL. This is a paper from Westmoreland Intermediate Unit in reference to EL services for the
English
remainder
language.
of the year. Yep.
Okay.
And I just set up services for today, so you are correct. This is for that service.
I'm big on transparency to the public.
Would this be bringing in is this something like a 504? What, I don't know. I guess I just don't understand it because I haven't been on the board.
A student is tested for their proficiency in learning the English language. If there are deficiencies, then the IU will they will send a representative in, and that representative will work with those students in developing the skills necessary for them to master, or not even just be proficient in conversing, writing, speaking the English language.
Okay.
I think the confusion is it used to be called ESL, which is English as your second language. So your first language is not English. That's what this is. So you're learning English to go to school. That's it. It used to be ESL. This is just EL, which makes it seem like it's just like an English class if you're not doing well. English language arts, it's not. This is completely different.
Politically correct.
Yes.
So basically they bring, or or we assess them or something, and then we ask the IU to bring somebody in to basically
Yes.
help them.
Yes,
Is that correct? Okay.
yes.
Okay.
They will test the student, understand where they're deficient, and then work within those confines to help that student.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And so,
Is there any other? Go
sorry.
ahead.
And so what are we exactly voting on for this program to happen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And mind you, it is required.
Mr. Masha, I was just about to say the same thing. This is required by law for students who qualify, and part of it is to assure that you have testing to identify when students may need to be exited from those services so that you no longer have to pay for them.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 8 yes, 1 absent.
Professional services agreement, Excella.
Board is asked to renew a 5-year professional service agreement between Excella Health Medical Group and Southmoreland School District.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
No second.
Discussion.
This pertaining to our athletic director, or I'm sorry, no, our athletic trainer.
That's part of it, but it's also like health-related services in our health rooms. So it's the comprehensive package.
What does this comprehensive package consist of?
Exams, hearing, if it's needed, any type of services that would be provided for students. Exams for athletes.
But we
Mr.
employ a
Masha.
school dentist, we employ a school physician. I mean, I'm not against this. Does it include abortion, birth control? I mean, that's what I want to, professional services can cover anything there is. And I'm just wondering, do we have limits on this?
Yeah, it's health related issues that students would experience, not abortion or anything like that. These are services provided to our students.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
I understand that, but I thought we were already providing this. We're not providing those students or the services. I mean, I understand the athletics and the physical trainer and all that stuff, but I wasn't aware that we had other medical services provided to our students.
So I do believe, Dr. Fike, that this says, thank you for considering renewal of our professional services agreement. So we already have a contract with them. It must be expiring, which is why we're getting.
This is 5 years ago, Michelle. I wasn't on the board 5 years ago, so I don't know what these professional services consist of. Excuse me for asking.
Can
I ask a question?
It does list on the paper that we got on our agenda. Did you get the same paper from Excella that does list out the fees and the things that they're providing?
So I have a question about that, because unless I'm missing it somewhere, it just says that we would like to propose a new 5-year contract and keep everything consistent with our current arrangement, except, and it lists a couple things, but I don't know what the current arrangement is. And I do think for public, it should be attached to board docs so they can see what our current arrangement is with what our current contract is with them.
That was what I was trying to get at, Christy. Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Zundel may have that in old minutes. I'm not sure if she has anything back that far.
You're muted, Mrs. Zundel.
You're muted.
What year was it approved again? You said about 5 5 years ago?
So
Yeah,
I guess
16.
5-year agreement.
You do have
I'm
minutes
just-
from 2016 available on board docs. It's going to take a moment to run the search of that, but I do agree with the comment that the full scope of the agreement should be attached so that the public
Yeah.
and the board can review it before the vote. Just one moment. Is there a time sensitivity to this, Mr. Masha?
I don't believe so. We can. I'm trying to do a search here also. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would just feel more comfortable voting on a contract that we have looked at instead of just saying it's going to be the same, because I wasn't on the board then, so I have no idea what it looks like.
right.
Christy, I think we should table this until that's published.
I will do a search for it. You know, we'll post the previous agreement.
Can I make a motion to table it, or do we want to wait until Mrs. Zundel and Mr. Masha can find that?
Well, but we can't inform the public that way, though.
True.
I would recommend that you said somebody make a motion to table. Your other alternative is to take a no vote on it. But I think for purposes of working with Excella, it makes sense to table it because I'm not able to search board minutes quickly enough to get you an answer to vote on it this evening.
Things change in
I
5
make a
years.
motion to table it. To
I'll
table-
second that.
Motion to table.
Yeah.
okay, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, do we need to do anything with the motion that is on the table?
When you resume the meeting, when you are at a subsequent public meeting where you are ready to vote on these items, when they will be listed on the agenda, they will be preceded by a motion to take the item from the table, referring back to this meeting, and I can walk
Okay.
Mr. Masha through how to list that on the agenda.
Okay, so I don't need to
Mrs.
do
Williams?
anything with the motion that was already made. I can just move on.
Mrs. Williams,
Yes,
I'm going to ask to be excused from the meeting. I need to go deal with a couple of things. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to leave.
that's okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, service proposal, energy management system, preventative maintenance.
Board is asked to consider a service proposal for energy management system preventive maintenance service at a cost of $14,166. This is a 3-year contract.
I need a motion.
Motion, yeah, me.
I
Sorry.
need a second.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Yeah, I think I'm not very smart, but I'm sitting here with 3 identical letterheads in front of me from IPC Services. One says 4,300 or something. One says 11,900. This is 14,166. Is that a combination? It can't be a combination of all of them. I have 3 of them. Am I wrong here? I mean, is this? I have 3 proposals in my hand.
Yeah, this, according to my,
Service proposal, 11,928, and then one says $14,166. What are they and what are we voting on? And then the third one says, I think is the same thing, and it says 4,300. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. I don't know. But at least I have 2 of them that have 2 different numbers. Just please explain it to me, that's all.
okay, in talking with Mr. Basham, our maintenance supervisor, he suggested that we contact Oz because we don't currently have some preventative maintenance for our EMS system. And I wish he was on this evening, but he's taken ill, so he can't really explain what an EMS system is, to be honest with you. But we did look at what we were currently paying and felt that this was something that could extend the useful life. So that is why Mr. Basham suggested that we get that information. If you're not comfortable voting on it this evening, I mean, we can always wait until Mr. Basham is able to discuss and explain to you further if you would feel more comfortable with that.
Pam, I don't have a problem voting on these things. I just have 3 different papers in front of me.
Right.
With 3 different.
Right. What this one actually is the energy management system, and
Yeah.
which has to do with the units that are on top of the buildings, my understanding. So he wants them to come in and do preventative maintenance to hopefully extend the useful life of some of these items.
Okay, then the second one is for pneumatic controls preventive maintenance, right? That's another one.
That is correct. That's something different, correct.
And then what's the third one? Or am I looking at something that belongs somewhere else? IPC. Am I looking
So
at
this one, the next one is the pneumatic controls, and that is preventative maintenance for those as well. And looking at that, that is the $11,000 figure that you're looking at. And then, to be honest, the IPC,
yeah,
Disposal of waste. That's the
Yes.
disposal of
Yes.
waste materials.
yes, yes, thank you, Mr. Massey. That's right, because that's something that Mr. Price had worked on.
okay, that's separate from this.
That is correct, yes.
Okay, so those two, when you put them together, they're like $26,000. They are
Yes.
$26,000.
Yes.
So are we voting on those two, those $26,000?
Yes, there are 2 separate items, and that is indeed correct, yes. And then this one, the IPC services, is for the disposal of things like paint and things like that you just can't pitch.
We're going to have
because
3
the
votes.
No.
3
the
votes.
IP
One for
Yes.
15, one for
Yes.
7, and one for.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
And this is all for preventive maintenance.
No, the IPC services contract.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize. But the other 2 are for preventive
That
maintenance,
is,
right?
that is correct. So that hopefully extend the useful lives so that, we don't have to continue put as much money into some of the units. I know the one unit that most recently went down at the elementary school, in talking with Mr. Basham, I believe that item was a little over $3,800 to fix just for one unit. So
Yeah, I remember about that. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm good on these 2. I just was confused about the difference. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
I just want to make sure everybody is aware too, that it's a 3-year contract, but the yearly fee is going to be $11,928.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, so that's $40,000, Michelle, 41,000.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure, at first I didn't see that, but every year we're going to pay them $11,928.
Mhm.
Well, that's for the
What about the-
pneumatic one.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's-
technically, we're still on the energy management
Yes.
one is what
Okay,
we're
I'm sorry,
talking
which-
about at the moment.
That one
That's
would
the
be
14.
the same. So
Mhm.
the first one, Dr. Fike, is going to be $14,166 per year for 3 years.
Oh, Michelle, that's $50,000.
So that's a lot.
It is.
Is this,
Oh, I was the full 3-year thing. Okay, that's 50,000,
Correct. Well,
like
yes.
80,
Over a
80,000.
over a course of 3 years. That is correct.
yep,
So,
Ooh.
okay, so say if we did vote on this, and we're getting the
Ooh.
roof repaired, well, actually kind of basically a new roof come on the SBC, are they going to be, how would we work with that?
I don't
I mean-
think this is going to even include anything at SPC
No.
It's not.
because we're
it's
talking
not.
about things on the roof and we don't have anything
Oh, I
on
guess
the
we don't
roof
have
at
AC in there.
SPC.
Okay.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay.
So
Makes sense.
I think I'd like a little more information on this,
Yeah.
just to see, is this the only,
Talking $1,000.
Do you know, Mr.
Yeah, we information.
Mr. Paul Kosky, do you know, is this the only company we can use? Is this,
No, there's different companies. The first proposal, the energy management system, that's if you guys remember the Johnson controls, that's how Charlie can control the building's temperatures from a computer. And I know previously we didn't have a maintenance agreement with these companies. If we had a problem, we would call somebody and they would come and fix it. Other districts have maintenance agreements. I know the VOTEC uses OZ for their maintenance issues. There's Johnson Controls. There's lots of other companies that do this type of work, maintenance agreements. Should we look to other companies and get the best price? You know, somebody's going to have to compare what one company gives you and what another company gives you. OZ has been here previously. It seems Charlie has a relationship with them and feels comfortable using them. You know, it would be nice to hear from him. I know he's not here, but you know, if it seems the board needs more information to vote on this, and we can certainly table it. I mean, I'm not pushing one way or the other. I just know previously we didn't have any maintenance issues. It was all lumped into the maintenance budget. You know, whatever they charged to come here and fix something, it was lumped in there. This board knew nothing about it. So now this is a contract that we have. It's in black and white and we're seeing it. So, you know, we can look in previous years and see what companies came in here and what charged us per hour, you know, and see if that works out or, you know.
Another question that I have is that this says the contract, which is dated in September, would be retroactive to July 1st. So I'm curious, have they already done some sort of work for us since July 1st that the contract is being made retroactively? Because I mean, that's now been several months. So if we're talking about paying an annual fee and several months have already passed by where they haven't been doing any work or done anything for us, I don't know that I want to pay them a full, you know, a full year's fee if it's not a full year's term. So that would be another question that I would want to have answered before we voted on this.
I would imagine this hourly rate that you're seeing here is way cheaper than what it would be if Charlie calls them out in an emergency situation and has them fix something, you know, at 6 a.m. in the morning, he brings them out. So, I mean, obviously we've been using them. I don't know for how long. That probably gets back to the previous maintenance director.
If we had a problem, Jason, we would still be incurring whatever the fee was for calling them out. Because if I'm right, maybe I'm not reading this right, but this is just for preventative. So they would come out 1 8-hour day.
Well, if you look, there are 12 8-hour visits and 600 miles per year. Yes, that is correct.
So that's not, I'm assuming that's not for any repair work. That would just be to come out and recalibrate and do things of that nature to make sure everything is running correctly at that point. But I don't think I still think any repair we would need to do would be in addition to this, is how I'm reading that. I don't know if Charlie might be able to shed some more light at the committee meeting Monday for us that we could bring.
So I have a question, Jason. We are already under Johnson Control for energy management, are we not?
Yes, on
Am I wrong?
Yes, on some things we are. Not every piece of heating and ventilation.
Okay, see, I'm confused because we already have an energy management contract with Johnson Controls. So you're saying they don't do preventive maintenance as a part of that. Look, I'm dumber than a rock when it comes to this stuff. I just remember I didn't do it, but I remember the board contracting with Johnson Controls for, it was a huge thing that you were supposed to get all this money back and everything. And I just was surprised to see that was not included in this.
Well, they replaced, Dr. Fike, they replaced the boilers at SPC and the chiller at the high school. Those are the two things that they replaced regarding the heating and ventilation system at the school district.
Is that considered preventive maintenance, Jason?
What?
Replacing those things, is that preventive maintenance or that's just
that would be
repair,
replacing them. That would be replacing them.
So if we pay this thing, that means we would never have to replace, they would pay to replace things that go bad or not? Well, that was Michelle's question. Were they going to fix things and replace things or just come out and look at them and keep them running?
I think it would be no different than if you had your furnace guy come out and at the beginning of the season changes your filter, make sure your furnace turns on. but then 2
Yeah.
months later, your furnace gives out, I think you're still responsible for paying for a new furnace.
Yeah, that's
think
what I thought you said, Michelle.
Negates this, so I think I'd
Mhm.
like a little more information. It seems like, I'm not saying that it's too much money for what they're gonna do. I'm just not understanding what they are gonna do for this amount of money, and if we ever had a contract with anybody before, and what that was. So, but if this doesn't include any repair work, it's
No,
a substantial amount of money.
It is. And if you look on page 2, it basically says rate schedule for labor not included in this contract. And it talks about what all that is. So yeah, once Mr. Basham is feeling better, I'm sure he can explain this to us more in detail. I apologize. I don't know that he just had them send me the proposals and said that this is something that we should do. I
think we need to table this to get more information. Michelle, we get 3 or 4 phone calls a day. They want a home warranty. They want to extend our car warranty.
Oh yeah.
I make a motion to table it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we don't really understand what we would be spending $80,000 for. I mean, that's just for, I mean, that's only, I forgot, I didn't miss, it says total annual premium. I missed that. Like I said, I'm dumb as a rock on this stuff. So I think we need to look into that a little further to see what we would get for our money.
I will second Nicole's motion to table it.
Okay. So I need a second to, okay, you seconded?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion on tabling item number 6, which was the service proposal, energy management system preventative maintenance? So I have a motion to table. I have a second. All those in favor? Yes, I'm sorry.
Are we going to do the pneumatic controls also? You might as well lump that in there with it.
Yes. Can I do those as one?
Both of those, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Amend my motion to add in what Mr. Polakowski had suggested.
Yeah, both of those, yeah.
Number 6 and 7 on the agenda.
Yes, sorry, I closed out my agenda by accident.
Okay, is that okay with everyone? Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm like losing power here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and then moving on to the next item, which was the IP Services LLC proposal.
Board is asked to consider a proposal with IPC Services for removal of identified waste in 3 locations at a cost of $4,300.
You hear me?
Barely.
I'm sorry, I need a motion.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I had a quick question.
A good price?
Removal of waste products costs a lot of money. Yes, it's pretty fair.
IPC Services, that's not the local people in Scottsdale, is it? Or is it?
I don't know the answer to that, Dr. Fike. I would have to, once again, Charlie's not here.
No, they're in Harmony, Pennsylvania, I believe. Yeah, Harmony, Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's far. Did we put something
bring
out
up at the very top of
bids or any?
Where it says customer says Westmoreland School District.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Okay. I was like, ew.
Yeah, that's got to be Southmoreland.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something.
Westmoreland School District, yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is something that Mr. Price worked on.
Okay.
So he maybe give you more.
So I had a quick question. Is this something that anyone is taking care of now? Are we working with this company? Are we working with another company? Is this happening at all?
It was not happening at all. Mark did talk to us about this at the last Buildings and Grounds meeting. We have a lot of chemicals, old paint cans, different things that are just around the district. They all need to be gathered up and disposed of, and we have to dispose of them properly.
I'm sorry. This is a one-time, like they come and clean everything out. This isn't like a yearly ongoing thing. This is a one-time come do it thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I think because of what we were doing with those other motions, I was a little bit thinking this was kind of the same, like ongoing thing, but this is a one-time come get our bad stuff and take it away.
Yes.
Okay, got ya.
Charlie was talking about a printing press that has to be removed.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Is this, I'm sorry, is this for all, like, for every school building? Like,
Yes,
we
it's-
would gather it, they would come pick it up,
Yes.
District-wide, yes.
district-wide, okay.
Mhm. Okay, roll call?
Mrs. O'Rear,
I'm having trouble to actually say a vote on it because of it saying Westmoreland School District. I don't want to vote on something that doesn't say Southmoreland. I don't
Can
know, is that
we-
petty?
Can we amend the motion to include that being corrected?
Yes, that was one of the suggestions I was going to make. Amend the motion to say, subject to correction of the school district name.
Okay, so
Okay.
whoever made the motion, can you please, are you willing to amend that?
Is that me? Okay, amend my motion to correct the.
West Southmoreland.
From Westmoreland to Southmoreland.
Yeah.
Okay, and the person that seconded,
I think it might have been Gail.
Well, okay, yeah,
are you? Okay, okay,
I agree.
okay. So roll call.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes,
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes,
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
I'm all for getting rid of trash, yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries. 7 yes, 2 absent.
So here comes my Robert's Rules recommendation now. You voted to amend the motion that was on your agenda. Now you have to vote to approve the motion as amended.
Oh,
Okay.
Well,
So
that could be
I
a
need
voice.
a motion.
I motion to approve the motion.
And I need a second.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Okay, can I just do a voice vote here?
You actually cannot, you need to do
Okay.
a roll call.
All right, I'm sorry. Okay, roll call.
Mr.
Oh, my.
Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond, Mrs.
yes,
Raymond,
yes, sorry, I was on mute.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes,
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
The EITC letter of support for Scottsdale Public Library.
Board is asked to authorize administration to submit a letter of support for the Scottsdale Public Library.
I need a motion.
moved.
Make the motion.
I will second that.
Discussion.
We need to keep this money locally.
Roll call.
Mrs. Raymond,
Sorry, yes, yes,
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes,
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes,
Motion,
Is Kristen Smith absent now?
she had to
Yes.
get off, Dr. Fike, yes.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, I couldn't wonder why those were 7 votes. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
Okay, EITC letter of support for Community Foundation of Westmoreland County for, I'm sorry, I missed one.
You missed Flight
EITC
93.
Yep, letter of support for Flight 93 National Memorial.
Board is asked to authorize administration to submit a letter of support for the Flight 93 National Memorial.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion.
I don't think any of you understand what a terrible motion this is. This is not even in our county. This is up in Somerset. This memorial has millions and millions and millions of dollars contributed to it. It is based on the Islam religion. That's fine. I don't care about that. But we are taking money away from local EITC programs, and we are giving it to something in Somerset County, which is absolutely of no benefit to us. I do not understand how this got on the agenda. Do what you want. Do what you want. I just
did you read
absolutely, I'm
this?
astounded it's on the agenda.
Did you read the letter?
Could we get
in your school district have received transportation funding through the EITC program to visit Flight 93 National Memorial this school year, 2021-2022.
Michelle, we need to keep our EITC funding for our local library, our YMCA, the people here in these communities. This monument has millions, Michelle, millions of dollars to spend on these kinds of programs.
This is money for our students to travel to visit and see the Flight 93 Memorial.
Which I think is that's an abomination. Look, you guys have it. You guys have it. You go ahead and vote on it. Go ahead and vote on it. I know you got it, but I'm telling you, you're making a horrible, horrible mistake.
And I'm telling you, you're not understanding the letter. The letter.
I understand the letter. The letter can say anything they want. It's separate from the truth.
To our students to be able to travel there as like a field trip.
Mrs. Zundel, could you maybe clarify what it means for us to provide these letters of support? Could you possibly clarify that?
It is Crescent of Islam. It is a testimony to the people.
Could Mrs. Zundel have an opportunity to clarify this for us and the public as to what exactly a letter of support does?
Yes, so attached to the agenda, if you scroll down to, I believe it's the third page, there's an example letter that was submitted by the Cambria Heights School District. And the letter says, we support Flight 93 in seeking to be identified as an educational improvement organization under the EITC Educational Improvement Tax Program. And it identifies that the students of Southmoreland School District will travel there and will benefit from the program. It is an educational program in nature. And that vote that the board is asked to take this evening is simply a letter of support for the organization to seek that tax credit.
So, like, we're not in any way contributing to them financially, correct?
That's correct.
Take the money away from our community and give it to them. This is an abomination of what we are teaching our children.
Mrs. Zundel,
teach your children about Flight 93 is an abomination. Oh my gosh, I have seen everything.
Go ahead and vote on it. Already have your 7 or 8 votes, whatever. Just go ahead and do it. Just do it. Do it. Do it. It doesn't matter which. It does not matter. Go ahead and vote on it.
And open your mind and be mindful about what this could provide.
I'm asking you to open your mind to what it really represents. What it really represents.
Okay,
it does not represent Islam or Muslims or whatever you're thinking it does.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Mrs. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Carson?
Yes.
Dr.
Thanks, folks.
Dr. Fox?
I think she voted yes.
Okay.
Sounds like it to me.
Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries.
You did not call my name.
We most certainly did, and we also all heard you say yes.
I did not say yes. You did not call my name. The vote is no.
I can speak for a minute.
No.
Just give a quick advisement. Dr. Fike is indicating that she didn't vote. We're on a virtual meeting. There may be cause for confusion and noises, I'm sure. I would just recommend that Mrs. Williams, as the chair, take her vote at this time.
Dr. Fike?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Motion carries 6 yes, 1 no, 2 absent.
EITC letter of support to Pittsburgh Zoo and PPG Aquarium.
I think you missed one, Mrs. Bloom.
You're not doing the community foundation?
I'm sorry. EITC letter of support for Community Foundation of Westmoreland County for 2020, 2021.
The board is asked to authorize administration to submit a letter of support for the Community Foundation for 2020, 2021.
I think it's asking for both years in their email for 2021, 2022. In addition, the state has also requested the same letter for the 2020, 2021 school year.
Yes, that is correct.
Why would that be? Oh, wait,
No,
did we motion?
We did already do the 21, 22. We already did that. It says, thank you for submitting the letter of support for 2022. In addition, the state has requested the same letter for 2021.
Okay, sorry.
No,
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion.
Did we,
Well,
I guess my question would be like, did we support this in 2020 and 2021 that they would need a letter for? Like, did we approve that? I wasn't on the board then, so I didn't know.
We just approved the 20. Let me pull the letter back up. We submitted a letter for 21, 22.
Okay.
They're asking if we could submit the letter for the 2021 school year.
Right, and okay. I'm just asking, like, did we support them that they need the letter?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Is there a reason why 2021 hasn't already been done, do we know, or just an oversight?
If I were to venture a guess, I would think COVID had something to do with it.
Okay.
Roll call.
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
EITC letter of support Pittsburgh Zoo and PPG Aquarium.
The board is asked to approve a letter of support for Pittsburgh Zoo and the PPG Aquarium.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion.
Why are we supporting Allegheny County events?
Kidding me.
Oh, we're going to
Because
bus our kids too.
There are educational opportunities for our students beyond the borders of Westmoreland County.
Yeah. You people understand what EITC is, don't you?
Please stop calling
you
us
know
you people. Please stop calling us you people, because you're involved with us people. Please stop doing
Do you
that.
understand what EITC is? Nicole, tell me what you think EITC is. Can you tell me that?
No, I don't know what EITC is.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so
Honest
quit
to God,
asking
I
me.
really think if you people knew what that did, we want to give it to the library. We want to give it to our YMCA. We want to give
And
it
we
to
do
our
give it
local.
to them. So why can't we give it to others too?
Yeah, give it away. Give it away.
Oh my gosh.
This comes from our local businesses.
You
Our
are
local
100%
businesses
the voice of
donating
reason, let
this
me tell
money
you.
benefit of ours. Okay.
So this doesn't, what this does though, these letters of support allow these places to collect EITC money, not necessarily from us,
Vince, do you want to explain to them how the Scottdale Bank donates EITC money and what it's used for?
Well, they used to donate money to whatever project. Sometimes it was related to reading. Sometimes it was to technology.
Correct. And some of it now goes to the library, which is good. And I guess the Westmoreland Foundation is okay. But now everybody's screaming for a piece of the pie. So there's less money left. Scottdale Bank has donated probably millions of dollars to the Southmoreland School District, to our local people, to our local agencies and so forth. And now I'm sitting here looking at this. We're sending it now to Somerset County. We're sending it to federal government. We're sending it to Allegheny County. Look, take your vote. Give it away. I don't care. I was involved in this from day one, years ago. I worked with people to fill out the applications for EITC to keep money in our area, even including the Mount Pleasant YMCA. Okay, I worked with these people to get them these grants, to get this money. Now we're going to give it away. Give it away. I don't care. I did my share.
The money comes from Harrisburg.
I did my job.
Congratulations.
It is
but the money comes from
money.
Harrisburg. It doesn't come from our local pockets. It doesn't come from our community's local pockets. It comes from the grants that come down from Harrisburg. They're educational tax credits, basically. And they come down from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Vote. Is correct. I would recommend that that there's been sufficient debate on this, and that Mrs. Williams call for a vote on the item.
Roll call. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Dr. Fike.
No.
Mrs. O'Rear.
Yes, please.
Mr. Polakowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond.
I'm sorry. Yes.
We lost Mrs. Raymond.
I think she voted.
We did. We lost her.
Oh, I thought she voted.
I would recommend taking the rest of the votes, Mrs. Tarzan, and then we can get Mrs. Raymond's when she joins back in.
Mrs. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Carson.
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Tarzan, how many voted yes?
5.
5. So the motion has carried. The record should reflect that Mrs. Raymond left the meeting at approximately 9:10, and we're just waiting for her to hopefully rejoin here.
I'm actually trying to get back in as well.
Okay.
I'm losing power on my device.
That might be Mrs. Raymond calling in now.
I think that's my phone.
Okay. Motion carried 5 yes, 1, well, I guess 3 absent, 1 no.
Somebody able to text Mrs. Raymond and see if she's trying to rejoin? Actually, I think I should probably be able to do that.
Let me see if I can call her.
minutes for her computer to reboot.
Is there a meeting in progress now?
It went to voicemail. It rang a few times. It went to voicemail. Okay, her power just flickered off and it will take me a few minutes for my internet to boot back up. That's it. From Candace. Should we maybe do like a strike to take a 3-minute recess? Oh, okay. Okay.
What's the recess for?
Candace, Mrs. Raymond's power flickered and she lost internet connection.
Oh, it's storming outside, I think.
Yeah, I hear the rain.
Oh, it's pounding down here, yeah.
Up to Mrs. Williams, whether you,
Okay,
take the
I'm
recess.
sorry. I'm sorry. I am having technical difficulties as well. For some reason, my computer isn't working, so now I'm having to talk on my phone. But because I'm using my computer, and let me see if I can double screen
There's
this, I might have to have somebody else read board docs for me.
The wonderful world of technology.
I'm back.
Well, it has been storming, so, and this meeting is going on forever. Okay, so Westmoreland Land Trust environmental outreach.
The board is asked to authorize administration to provide a letter of support for the Westmoreland Land Trust WLT's environmental outreach workshops, including Earthworm Wonders and Microgreen Gardeners. These are STEM-related programs.
Is there any cost to us?
I don't believe so.
No cost, okay.
I need a motion.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion.
How can we turn down earthworms, Michelle?
I don't know. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, Winter Celebration of Lights Parade.
Board is asked to consider granting the approval of Scottsdale Chamber of Commerce and the Scottsdale Borough to use the elementary middle school parking lot to line up for the parade on December 4th, 2021 from 4:30 p.m. to approximately 5:30 p.m.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second that. I'll second that.
Any discussion?
This doesn't cost us anything, does it?
No.
Okay, I think we should do it. It's a community activity.
Okay. And they've used it in the past, so.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Can we just do a voice vote here, Mrs. Zundel?
Yes, sorry, I had to unmute. Yes, you may.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter of collaborative agreement with Marikey.
Board is asked to approve a letter of collaborative agreement between Southmoreland School District and Marikey.
I need a motion.
I will make that motion. I think this is a very valuable resource for some of the most serious issues we are dealing with. I make that motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Discussion?
This should be roll call, Michelle, because it's an important program. Yeah,
Yep.
we pay for this. Mm-hmm.
Roll call?
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
Okay. The banking RFP results, I'm sorry. So banking RFP.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Board is asked to approve switching banks from PNC General Fund, Tax Collection Accounts, Payroll Fund, Employee General Fund, and Food Service Accounts.
I need a motion.
I will make motion. I will make that motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion?
I am assuming that this is the recommendation of our business manager. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe.
And I support her recommendation.
Yes, it is indeed my recommendation. Not only will we earn more interest, we will also no longer have to pay an analysis fee that we're currently paying to PNC, as well as the fact that in my past dealings with them, I can tell you that they will be a true partner for our district, which I believe is one of the things that we were sorely lacking with PNC.
Pam, you have done everything you can to help our district, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
Accept resignation.
Board is asked to accept with regrets resignation of Hannah Skirvitz, speech and language teacher, effective November 7th, 2021, and grant permission to the administration to post and advertise this position.
I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, hey, apparently that's missing on my agenda. Are we having a teacher resignation? Is that what this is?
Yes.
That's okay. I'm okay. It's not on my agenda, and that's okay. No problem. I'm okay with it. Thank you.
This is, just so you're aware, Dr. Fike, this is the one we talked about last meeting. She's not tenured and was absent.
Yeah, okay. It's okay, Michelle. It just isn't on my agenda. I'm going to vote for it. That's not a problem. I just wanted to clarify what it was. Couldn't really. I'm fine with it. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2.
Okay, middle school head wrestling coach.
The board is asked to approve Zachary Sheridan as the middle school head wrestling coach at a stipend of $2,843.
I need a motion.
Make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
Assistant middle school wrestling coach?
Board is asked to approve Colin Sheridan as assistant middle school wrestling coach for the 2021-2022 school year at a supplemental salary of $2,843.
I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion?
I didn't know.
I do have a,
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, I
Okay.
do have a question on this. Are we paying the coach, the head coach and the assistant coach the same
same amount.
stipend?
That was my question. Yes. Yeah. A little confused on that.
Oh.
What does it say in the supplemental contracts, Michelle?
I'm sorry,
They're
I
the
can't,
same. They're the same.
it's the same?
Oh, they're the
Okay.
same. Well, if that's what's in the contract, then we don't really have any
Yeah.
question about it. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure that, because that
Yeah,
just seemed odd
okay.
to me. So,
Okay.
okay, is there any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
Okay, I need a motion to take a 3-minute recess to allow for public comment. And
Make
I'd
the
like to
motion.
give that,
Oh, sorry.
okay, and I need a second.
Second.
Okay, I'd like to give the phone number also for anybody that missed it at the beginning. It's 724-640-2609. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 3 minutes.
What rule? Can we get an answer? What are Democrats like that were so afraid of? You know, why are they so resistant to transparency and openness?
Okay, so the 3 minutes is up. Are we still live?
We're still live and no one called.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
It looks like we might still be missing a couple. Oh, there we are.
Okay, is everybody back? I'm sorry. I can't see because I had to call in.
It looks like Mr. Carson is maybe, there he is.
Okay.
We're all here, I think.
Okay. So we're all back and there's no citizens comments. So I need a motion to adjourn. I think I have a first.
Yeah, I motioned.
Okay, and I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks all.